Friendship relationships can be just as complicated as partnerships. It was the 90s. I was working on Bond Street in a salon, and one of my clients used to come in regularly, and we just got on really, really well. But the divide and the class divide, I suppose, was very apparent. She lived in Chelsea, I lived in Enfield, and obviously those two areas are very different areas and unique in their own way. She had a big job, and it was a job in the city. I was a beautician, I suppose, in her eyes, although I still stand by how much I love my job. So we had a good humour in common. I say good humour because I find it funny, and we love clubbing. We love going out and partying. We're about the same age, I suppose. She was just a little bit older than me, but so yeah, we were in the same social bracket. So around about this time, I was seeing this guy who we had planned a trip to Ibiza together. We'd gone to great lengths to plan dates, times and whatever, and he decided to be a no-show literally a week before the holiday was planned, which meant that I knew he wasn't coming with me. So that was nice, wasn't it? Around about that time, this client of mine came in for her treatment, and I was telling her about it, and I asked her just off the cuff, do you fancy coming to Ibiza with me? So at this point, we hadn't even been out for a drink. I had never ever seen her outside the salon. I was taking a bit of a risk, really, because, you know, whatever. So she said yes, which I was completely shocked at. All she had to do was book her flight, and I had the most amazing romantic room booked in Pikes Hotel. If you know, you know about Pikes in Ibiza. Right, fast forwarding now, we got on like a house on fire. We got on super well, and it just basically ignited the beginning of our friendship. And the friendship was based on partying, doing lots of other fun things, I suppose being wild and young and kind of making memories together. And I started to notice you know, comments when we'd had drinks, when we met various men. She and I look very different, so we attracted very different types of men, so it was never a crossover in that way. But the kind of comments I'm talking about were sort of alluding to me being common. In fact, she used those words: meet my common friend Nadia. She's common. Meet her, you know, when we'd had a drink and we'd gone backstage. And I've spoken a bit about having pretty privilege in my previous videos. Not me thinking I'm pretty, please don't come for me. But we experienced a lot of that together. One particular occasion sticks in my mind where the guy that she was flirting with turned out to be quite a nice guy, and he said, did you hear what she just said about you? She just called you common. And I said, oh no, she does that, she's only joking. And he looked at me, and it really stuck with me, because until that point I always took it really lightheartedly and in a fun way, but it was at that point where it all changed for me. She had a better job, a better home, she had more money, she had better clothes, better shoes, and she thought she was better. And I hadn't even picked up on it until that very point. I had not picked up on it. I thought she had my best interests at heart, and I genuinely thought that she was joking. And honestly, if you had, or if I had the guts to confront her, she would have denied it, and I didn't have the guts to do it. So I let it slide, and I let it slide, and I let it slide, and the resentment was building up inside of me, and I started to snap back at inappropriate moments, because it was obviously boiling and bubbling, and I wasn't addressing it at the time it was happening. So of course this relationship got more and more complex, and it was a very tense relationship in the end. The irony of this all was, with everything that she had, I actually led a happier life. That was the irony. And I wish she was happy. She really wasn't. Now, I'm not going to go into any further details about this friendship. She's not on here, so she won't see. But all I can say is we eventually drifted apart. And that happened after getting drunk together again. And we were both very toxic when we'd had a drink. I was, and I know that she was as well. But she wasn't in the place that I was in, where I was ready to kind of do something about it. And you know, full disclosure, I wasn't actually exactly ready at that point, but I was on my way to getting ready. So we drifted apart. We had one toxic blow up. She ended up going off in tears, and we didn't speak again for 2 years. I saw a notification on Facebook about a family member of hers that was very, very ill, and then all bets were off. I called her immediately and dived straight back in, and by now I was sober. bizarrely everything changed. Everything changed. There was no more or no longer the control that she had over me, because I was not intoxicated. I was fully present. She still drinks. And I felt a sense of power, and I felt a sense of control, and I felt focus, and of course I was able to conduct myself in a way that I felt pride and respect in myself, and there has never been any problems since. Are we still friends? Fuck no, she called me common.